Paint Partiers. It's Lisa from Lisa's Paint Parties, and we are here live on a Wednesday night. It's almost 6 o'clock, so we'll be getting started shortly. Hi everyone. Just gonna set a few things up here and we're gonna get started very soon. If you can see me, you're in the right place. We're gonna be starting our live free paint session very soon, and we'll be doing the baby elephant painting. So I will show you that in just a moment. So I'm just gonna get this set up here. Hi, Shallon. Awesome. I'm just seeing. Okay, cool. There weren't as many scammy links that coming up today, so hopefully they're taking a break for tonight, but we'll see how that goes. If you see any random links pop up in the comments, please report them or see if you can click to ban them, and just let anyone else know like not to click them in case I get into my flow and I don't get a chance to do it myself. I don't want anyone to be scammed or tricked or anything, so if you see me, you're in the right spot. So let me get our really nice elephant image up on my iPad. There we go. So tonight we are doing this one here. We're doing baby elephant. So this week we had an elephant themed option for all of the paintings. They're really, really cute. A lot of engagement. So thank you guys so much for that. This one actually won by 1 vote. And I had to recount a few times just to make sure I was accurate. Option 1 was the second choice with the orange background with the elephant with the trunk up. So that was the second place winner. But this is the one that we're going to do tonight. So I want you guys to think about how you want to make this your own. And again, if you liked elements of the other painting, if you want to incorporate like some background color, if you want to just do the other painting, that's totally fine. So feel free to paint whatever you want tonight. I'm going to guide you through how I'm going to recreate this painting. This one, as you can see, is a watercolor. I don't know if you can see, but it is a watercolor print. Like that was, it looks like the original image. So it's going to look a little bit different in acrylic, but it's still going to have the same like whimsical, fun feel to it. If you want, I would suggest grabbing a screenshot of this image, or just download the image from the post, the winning post from yesterday, just so you have it as a reference as we go through. I will have this available on the side, so it will be on camera, but it won't be like super close to you. So if it might be easier if there's something beside you can look at. This week, when we do this little elephant guy, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing him in with a pencil first. So I would suggest grabbing a pencil if you don't already have one. So we're going to do it that way just to make sure we get some of the proportions right, and I'll walk you through what that looks like, or I should say how I would approach that. Some of you might have much more talent than I do and can walk through much better, so I will just show you how I could do it, and we'll go from there. Cool. Awesome. Sorry, I just saw a spammer, so I'm just going to delete them. 1 second, please. Fantastic. Might be some more going on there. All right. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Pamela. Awesome. So I think I'm going to put this one here. Can't even see it with the light on it. But when I tilt things down, maybe I'll see if we can get some better lighting going on. Okay. Okay. So we're going to be starting up in a few moments. And I'm actually not going to start with paint at all today. We're going to start by sketching in our elephant. So I do have my paint supplies ready to go, and I'll go through that so you guys can make sure they're ready. So when we start the painting process, we have them. So I have a container of water. I have my paint palette. Everything's very dirty, but I like to keep it that way. We have some paint brushes. So with this one, if you have brushes that are more soft, I would kind of go with that. I think that will create nicer effects and will hold a bit more water, so you can kind of get like a watercolory kind of feel to it. So I would use some softer brushes. So I have some that are really hard, and that's not really going to work well for this session. So I would do some softer brushes. And you don't really need like a really big brush this time. I'd probably do like a medium and a fine tip if you have. So I have like a really fine tip brush here. And then this one's kind of funky, but I like to use like maybe like this one. So I might use these brushes this round. This is very soft and fine. My canvas is a canvas board. It's 11 by 14. I like canvas boards, easy to store, and it still maintains decent quality of the pictures. And then I also have paper towel, and I have my coffee. Oh, my coffee is there. Let me grab that. There we go. And I have my coffee. So if you have coffee, if you have another drink with you or water, I'd suggest it. Okay. Let's make sure. Oh, there we go. Sometimes messages don't come up right away, so if I don't respond to you, I am trying to keep an eye on them, number one. But number two, is sometimes they don't show up, and afterwards I'll like go look and like the messages pop up, and so I try to make sure I comment. So I apologize if you're writing something I don't see it. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jocelyn. Hi, Kelly. Oh, you're from Whitby. Awesome. You're my neighbor. I'm in Ajax. I love it. A lot of Canadians. We have our American friends joining us too. Fantastic. I love it. Okay, great. So it's about 6:01 right now, so we're just going to give it a little bit more time just in case anyone else wants to join in with us. So the first step, I haven't put any paint on my palette, is we're actually going to sketch in the elephant. So if you want to get started on that process, you can feel free to get started on that, or you can wait and I'll walk you through how I would go about it. I'm going to change my camera angle, so hopefully it'll work out well, because I have not tried that yet, to like put my canvas flat. So we will try that and see how that goes. Hi, Crystal from Malaysia. That's super cool. Thanks for joining. That's amazing. I love it. Okay. So yeah, I did try to do like a little sketch earlier just to make sure it would work out okay. So I did a little sketch on my sketch pad. So you may want to do that as well, like if you want to just kind of play with it a little bit, like on another paper before you draw it on your canvas. The canvas I find is still pretty decent, and what we can do is if we draw it on here and we don't like it, we can always paint over it with white paint or paint over it with something else. So that's kind of the benefit. So don't stress too much about that. But yeah, so I did that, so you guys can start that way, or you can start right on the canvas itself. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see if I can get this kind of set up. You're going to see my whole lovely room that I have here. That is not going to work very well. Let's see. Sorry, I'm moving you guys around today. Okay, so if I do it like this, we're going to try this way, I think, and see how it goes. I'm going to be blocking you. Okay, bear with me, guys. Okay. Maybe like this, so my hand doesn't block it as I go. Let's do it like that. Okay, so we are going to be, let's put this guy here. No, let's put him up a little bit. Let's move this up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be sketching in this baby elephant. Okay? And so I want him to be maybe like that big, maybe about like a third of my canvas, to really give that big spraying effect with all of the lovely colors that we're going to have, right? So let's grab a pencil. Hi, Jocelyn. You're in Hamilton. That's super cool. My family out in the West End. Okay, so yeah, perfect. So you guys can kind of, no shadow. Well, there's a little bit of shadow, but no, we're just gonna have to go with that for now, I think. Oh, hey, scammer. Don't click on that link. Oh, it's not letting me click to ban it. Very annoying. If someone could click to report, that would be fantastic. Because that is not the link. This is the link. You are exactly in the right place. Okay, so let's start with sketching in our elephant here. So where I'm going to start, you can't really see the bottom of my canvas too well. Maybe like that is a little better. So I'm going to have them about, like I said, about a third of my canvas. Okay, and what I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with this line right here. Kind of looks like a J. That's what I'm going to start with. Okay, so like I said, if I want to just see, so I want it to kind of be, the top to be about here more or less. I'm going to dot there. So his body is going to be, so if I have my dot there from the top of his, where I want the top of his trunk to be, top of his head will be about there-ish, and then the body will be about there. So it's from that dot, it's about 2/3 of the way down more or less. So I'm going to say, okay, so let's put in like a J. Like that. Kind of a curved J. Cool? Okay. So from here, it kind of curves down. This is bum. The bottom part of the J is bum. We're going to kick it out a little bit. I'm going to curve it a little bit there. So we're going to do that. It comes out a little bit further than there. That's fine. And then I'm going to put like a circle. That's going to be like the pad of his foot. And again, it's not going to be perfect because we're still going to paint over it. So I just want the idea of like to get the proportion so it doesn't look really off. Okay, so that's going to be the pad of his foot there. Okay, and then if we look here, then he has one of his arms kind of comes down. And it's going to come down, and it kind of touches the top part here of the circle. So it just makes a little swoop. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing, kind of follow that line, and not come down as far, and then that's where his, and just curve it up like that. This kind of little paw. I was going to say paw. I don't know what they're called. One of his legs that is now going to be his arm because he's sitting like a little cute teddy bear elephant guy. Okay, cool. And then we need to now look at this part here. So we want to get this line. So this line comes down, a straight line, and then it comes a little bit curved down at the bottom to the other trunk. So, and this again, we're doing pencil, so we can kind of play with it and we can change it up as we need, right? So I'm going to start that line is about the same as where the top of my J is, right? So I'm going to kind of bring it across. And then now I'm going to bring this part down, almost like a straight line, like that. About to where the bend on the first arm is, I'm calling it an arm. And then I'm going to bring it down straight and then just kick it out a little bit. And I'm just going to curve it like that. Okay, and then we need to put in his other little leg. So it's a little curve. And again, we want that pad of his foot. This one's not so as much circular. It looks kind of like a... Anyone who's like really into animals is like, you're not using the right terms at all. And you are correct, and I don't think I'll ever will. Okay. It's horrible. Okay. But you get what I'm saying. Okay, and that's just things. So again, I kind of think this one looks kind of funky right now. I might end up changing it out, but for now, it gives me a guide, so it's okay. Okay. So now we have legs. We've got 4 legs going on here. Okay. So now, let's take a look. So now I want to now go here. So see how this is where the bottom of his mouth is, and then it is like his neck, I suppose, and it kind of gives an idea of where his body is, right? So that line is going to come, I feel like this arm's a little bit big. See, and I feel like this arm's a little bit big now. I don't know. Okay, we'll play with that line and then I might change it up. Okay, so the top of his mouth starts just a bit higher than where that top of that J started before, right? So we want it to be kind of about here. So we have, this is where the arm is, so we're going to start maybe about there. And we're going to just come down, so just have like a line that kind of comes down. And then we're going to have it come up like that. Okay. And then this we need to bring it back up a bit. So this isn't going to work there. So I'm going to try to erase it. And it's not going to erase the best, but it's okay because we can always use paint to cover it up later. So I'm going to bring this up a bit, curve it up a little bit more. I might change that later. We'll see. Okay. So we have the bottom of his mouth here. Okay. And then this mouth, we want it to be open. And it kind of looks like a smile. So we're going to make like almost like a triangle, but not fully a triangle because it has to kind of curve a little bit at the bottom here. And it curves a bit at the top. And then I'm going to go in and then out. So it kind of like shows where his tongue is about. And again, I might change that up a little bit depending on how things go as we continue drawing. Okay, so from here, we're going to make a nice curve upward. So we're going to have fun with it. And we're going to bring the curve up. And that's going to go higher than where I started, which is fine. And if that happens to you too, that's totally fine. So we're going to come out. And then we're going to have it kick out. Okay. And then we're going to come back down. And at the tip here, it's going to be a bit thinner. And as it comes down, it's going to get thicker. Okay? Like that. And you don't want to go down too far, because see, it's still pretty thick here, right? And then when we get to about where the mouth is, more or less, let's round it up, and now we're going to just make the curve for the head. And the head curve is going to almost line up, so if we were going to make a line, it would kind of like connect nicely with the back there. So I went crazy with my curve, guys. So we don't want it to be super crazy. Let's bring it down a little bit, a smidgen. Okay. It kind of comes down a little bit. And then we have his ear. Okay, so that's going to come out and then it's going to come in. So it's going to come out. Right, and it kind of has a little peak there. And then it loops down. And then we want to just make like a point like that to get the rest of the ear shape. Okay. And once you have kind of the outline of how it looks, you can decide, okay, like, do I like it? Like, kind of hold it away from you and see if it makes sense, if you like the way the shape is. If you don't, you can literally erase and start again. I would probably erase first, and if you got really annoyed with it, you could always paint, like I said, right over it too, so that's totally fine. But again, we're going to be painting on top of this and having fun, a lot of fun color play, right, when we actually put all this in, so stick with it. So do what you can, see how it goes. And you can, if you want, you can kind of place where you want your eye to be, but again, like you might end up painting, very likely you're going to end up painting over it. So the eye, I'm just going to make kind of like an almondy, but not really. It's kind of like an almond shape, but then it kind of like peaks downwards here. So it's almost like a diamond. I don't know, diamond? Sure. And then he's looking over this way. So we're going to just get an idea of how it's going to be. And then there's like a curve here. So there we go. So there's our cute elephant. Oh, you know what I'm missing? His other ear. I did that too when I did my pre-sketch. I totally forgot. So let's just put that in. So it kind of comes down, comes out. It just has we know the ear exists. It lives behind there. Okay, and then we can also place in the tail. So the tail just comes out on the butt kind of. Let's bring it up. It's a bit thicker, and then it gets thin. And then it curves. So the puppy there at the bottom. But I definitely made it a little too thick. So I'm going to erase my canvas and we're going to try that a little bit again. But again, we're going to be painting it, so it shouldn't matter too much. Ever tried the coloring club or class where you just color and chat about whatever Timmy's or Walmart? No, I never did. I didn't even know that was a thing, Kelly. That's super cool. No, I think that would be really fun. And once all this stuff is like, I'm guessing it's probably not going on right now, but that would be very fun. Okay, cool. So I think now we're going to move back over to our painting, because you all didn't just come here to do a little drawing session, but it is important for us to get that going. So I'm going to get this reset up. I'm going to put this guy back here. This guy's going to live there. Okay, and I'm going to not put that so low. Okay, there we go. Okay. Can't zoom in anymore though, so unfortunately that's kind of where it's at. Let's move that. Perfect. Okay, cool. So, how's everyone doing putting in their elephant? Do you guys need a little bit more time? Maybe I'll give you another, like it's only 6:16. So why don't I give you a little bit more time? Maybe we'll wait another couple, like 4 or 5 minutes, just to make sure you guys have your elephant where you want him to be. And then we'll start talking about the next steps. So the next steps, really, maybe I'll start talking about some next steps right now, but we won't do it for a couple of minutes. So what I want to do is I want to color in the elephant and start playing with the colors. Now, one thing actually that's very different about this painting than all the previous paintings I've done on my painting parties is that this is the first time that I haven't actually painted the canvas. I've just drawn on it, and we're going to paint the elephant, and I'm going to paint the spray, but I'm going to keep the canvas just as it was. So I was a little hesitant on that, and I had debated whether or not I would do a different background. But I think with all the colors that we're going to have in the elephant and also like with the spray, I think that's going to look really nice and clean and simple. So I will do that. I might use white if there's some like, pencil lines that look kind of weird. So I can always touch that up or like get rid of that if it does become in the way. So we can potentially do that as well. Make sure there's no other comments. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. And yeah, so we're going to get started just in a little bit. Give you guys a little bit more time to make sure you're good to go. Okay, and there we go. Cool. So yeah, so when we start to do some of the color, it might feel a little tricky at first. So I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. If you've never done something like this, where we're going to be putting kind of different patchy colors on, just go with it. Do the best that you can and just like feel it, because it can be a little bit weird. I know the first time I did it, I was very apprehensive. But I really want you to think of it as mimicking the light and dark. So if when we start off, if we put in some of these dark shades, so these dark blues, right? Why are we putting in the dark blues here, right? Because that's where the shadow is. That's the darkest part, right? Why do we have the yellow where it is? Well, that's where the highlight, that's where you have more color, where something shines more. And then you keep this more of the neutral, like the grayish white color again, because that's more the forefront. So we're going to add the color to kind of give it some dimension and some shape. And it might feel a little bit weird at first, especially the first couple ones we put down. It's going to be like really strange. And then as you keep layering different colors, it will feel and look much more accurate to what I think you want it to look like. I find that sometimes a little tricky. So I think what I like to do is I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to do some of the shading there. So I have my peacock blue. I have white as well. So I'm going to put some peacock blue and some white. And I don't know if I want to go black. I'm going to put a little dab of black in case I want to do any little lines, but we'll see. We'll see if we want to go that route. My elephant's pretty small. I think I'm going to start with one of my thinner brushes, maybe my thinnest brush, to be honest, just to get a feel for things, and then I might switch it up afterwards. So yeah, so I'll give it another, sorry, I said I was going to give it like till 6:20 in it. I'm ready to start painting already. If you have other colors, like I also have a really nice like turquoise. So if you have other bright colors that you want to use, go for it, and other types of blues that are already pre-mixed, feel free. Whenever I use the paints, I'm going to try to stick with going through like the blue, yellow, red, white, and black. So basically the primary colors in white and black, so that anyone who has those colors, you can join, you can mimic what we're doing. But if you do have pre-mixed colors, they'll always add like some additional burst of color, and it'll look really nice too. So feel free to play with that if you want to as well. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get started. So let's start putting in the shadow of the elephant. It's hard for you to see, again, the color on here. Let me see if I can zoom in. That's a little bit better. So yeah, so we're gonna get some of this going on here. So let's get the dark blue, okay? And let's start placing it in. So just here where I have his little leg, just gonna bring it upwards. Put some blue in. Okay, and let's just go around the bum. And again, if you're doing, you can do this color, but if not, if you're doing a different color, just use whatever the darkest shade is to do that. Okay, so let's just put in, and I'm just bringing it up, and I'm kind of using like little curved sweeps when I'm doing this. Again, it's all the same color, so it's not like you can really notice it too much right now. There's a little bit of dark on the back too. Ah! What happens when you don't use a proper easel? I'm just going to put a little bit here on the back. And then it kind of comes up a bit to here. Okay. Again, on the top, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to kind of follow where I see some of the darker, and I'm going to put my blue there. Make sure I'm not in your way. Okay, so we've got some dark going on there. Okay. Where else do we have some dark? So we have some dark here as well. I'm going to get into the blue again. We're going to go in here. And again, if you put dark and it doesn't really make sense there, or you need to lighten it up later, we can do that once it dries too. So don't worry too much about it. Just have fun with it. And let's just look and follow as best as we can. And then down here. Ooh, I find it easier to have my stroke go towards where my hand is. If I try and do it like down, it doesn't flow as nicely. Okay. Okay, so I'm just putting in some blue, this back leg. Okay. Put some lines here too. And I'm going to go a bit further than where I know there's going to be like the, I'm going to say nails. I don't know if there actually is nails. I'm assuming so. The bottom of his foot. Okay, and there's also a little bit of blue here on his ear. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit there. And there's some more of this dark blue on the ear here. Okay. Okay. There's a little bit of, it's more black, but I'm just going to put in it in blue. I'm just going to put a little bit up here as well. The thing is, when we put some more colors here, you might end up having to touch up the dark areas too. I'm like fully creating a shadow on here. That's not good. Susan, the picture isn't very focused for me. Not sure if it is me. Okay. Well, I definitely know I'm creating a shadow, because every time I go over, like, my head's like, boom, shadow. So I'm wondering if maybe if I move, still creates it. Not as bad though if I put the light on that side. So let's see if that's a little better. Yeah, at least there's not the shadow directly there. The picture itself is not a very focused, like very detailed picture, because it is a picture that was grabbed online, and so like sometimes their quality is hit or miss. So the picture itself is actually pretty grainy. I'm not sure if you mean this picture though. My lighting is not great. Okay. Unfortunately, that's what I have to work with, which kind of sucks. In the summer, it's always so much easier because I have such much natural light. In the winter, it's pretty poopy. Let me see if I can move this and see if it's better. It's a little better. Slightly. Okay. Let's continue, shall we? Alright, so I do want there to be a bit of a lighter blue in here, or my turquoise. I might add in some of that potentially. You know what? I also kind of missed the tail. The tail's pretty dark too, isn't it? So let's get that in. I should have, you know, I'm going to make some purple too. Maybe we'll use that purple next before I go into like a lighter blue. I'm just going to follow this tail up with this blue. I might do most of it this way, and then I might just add some more color to it. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad it does. Thank you, Susan. I'm sorry. Sorry that the lighting is poops, but... Okay, so I'm going to get some red, and I'm going to make some purple to play with. Again, if you have like a pre-mixed purple, you can absolutely use that, or you can do it in conjunction with making your own. It's really up to you. I do want some of the red too. I'm going to play with that, but I'm just going to mix a little bit of red and the blue together. I'm just literally, I put them together and I'm just blending them in. I think I have a bit more red than blue right now. Maybe I'll put a little more blue. I don't know. Just kind of make it however you so desire. I'm just making a little bit to play with. And so I'm going to go and do some purple. So there's some purple in here. It's actually a little bit darker than my blue. I'm just going to add a little bit. It's actually more purple than blue. Just add a little bit to some of these areas. Okay. So let's grab some more red from there. There's a little patch of red in this area. Let's put a little bit of red there. Okay. Find my purple's a little dark, so I'm just putting a little bit of white in it just to lighten it up. That's a little better, I think. So I'm just going to put some in here. I'm going to come upwards, come down. This purple is a little bit nicer. It stands out a bit more. The other one was a little too dark, I think, when I made it. Put some in this area here. And there's no right or wrong way. Like, you kind of just look at the image and just put it where you see it. And again, you can always change it up. So if you do it and then after a little while you're like, you can change it up. You're not stuck with it. That's what I like most about acrylic paint, is that you can always change it and fix it and make it your own, you know? Cool. Okay. Awesome. So I want to, hi Patty, I'm so glad you're joining. Whoops! I just put my paper towel in the paint. It's not where it belongs. Alright, I'm going to make some light blue. So I'm going to get a little bit of white in my blue. I actually should have said a little bit of blue in my white, because I want it to be very light, ideally. It always ends up being darker when you put it on. Like, whatever color you make, you're like, oh, it's a light blue, and then you put it on, and you're like, that is way darker than I thought it was. At least that's how I feel with blue. Okay, so let's put in some of this color in here. I'm just gonna dab, kind of like put some light blue in. And then there's light blue. I mean, it's more of a turquoisey there. I think I am going to play with my turquoise, because that turquoise color pops nicely. But for right now, I'm just going to use my light blue. So I'm just going to this limb in the front here, a lot lighter. So let's get some color in here. This light blue. I want this to kind of come up all the way. A lot of this is going to be the base behind it. We're going to add more color on top of it too. Put some of it in here. Not a lot, because it's actually that turquoise, the lighter color goes in here, but I'm just going to start with this guy. Okay. Also comes up the neck here. And around the mouth. And the trunk as well. And as I'm going, I am trying to paint over some of my pencil lines so that it blocks it out, so I don't have to worry about the pencil showing through. And then here too. Okay, let's just get some of this in here too. If you're feeling like it looks weird, it does. So that's fine, and that's normal. Because again, this is like in the middle of this process. And when we are in process, acrylic, especially with this type of process when we're doing a lot of these random colors, for me, I haven't been able to do it where it looks amazing in this process. It always ends up looking really weird. And then as I continue painting and as I continue putting more colors and playing with it and doing and overlapping and building it, that's when it starts to come together and it looks better. So don't worry. Because I don't know if you can see, I'll show you a bit closer. See, mine looks a little bit ragged right now. And if yours looks a little ragged, that's fine. So don't stress. You're doing good. Kind of think of it as if any of you guys have done like a paint by number, right? There's like globs of each color that kind of go, and then eventually it's going to all kind of come together and look really nice. Okay, so I want to get some like lighter purpley pink going on. Let's just clean off some of that blue, although it's going to work in my favor anyway, so I want a little bit of that. I'm going to put some red, just get quite a bit of white in my red. I'm going to get some pink going on. Okay, so there's some pinks happening in here. There's some pinks in here. Okay. There's even a little bit kind of in here. Some streaks in there, that's cool. And let's get some more coming up this way. Let's patch it in here, put some pinks in. Some pink on this guy here. Okay. There's obviously a pink in the mouth here. Totally forgot about that ear with that lighter blue color. My head in the way? It like fully is. Oh my god. So sorry. Might still end up happening. Okay. Okay. So where do I want to go next? Okay, so I'm going to do like a light gray. Like very light. Like, I mean, a tiny little blip of black in a sea of white. That's the kind of gray I'm talking about. It's like pretty light. So I want to just put a little bit it in here, bring it in here. I want some yellow in there too, so I'm just going to bring some gray in here. Let's bring it around his eye, I think. I want it a little bit lighter than that. Oh, that one darker. That was not what I wanted to do. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, I just have white on my brush right now because I went a little too dark with that gray, so I'm just putting white on it. Okay, let's go back to the gray. Let's keep playing with it. So I'm just going over some of the blue areas, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this gray on here. I want this area here, I think, underneath the ear to be gray, like a triangle of gray there. Okay, and then I'm going to put a patch in here. Okay, and I'm going to put this, oh, don't go away, elephant, I need you. I'm going to bring it down into here. Okay, and then what else? Maybe a little bit on the tail. Maybe a little bit later there. I think here. His other little foot. And I think on the pads of the feet, I want it to be gray, but I do want it to be lighter. Sorry, I need to get in this area. There we go. Okay. Let's get the pads of this foot. Okay. And then we also have two, three. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to get everything on the canvas to be everything on the canvas. Anything on the elephant to have paint on it. Okay. That was a bit of a darker blue. So I still notice like there's still some canvas still showing up in certain spots, right? So I've made my lighter blue a little bit darker, so I'm just playing with it in different areas. I still want it to be a bit lighter there. Okay. I'll show it a little bit closer so you can still see that it looks very blotchy still, right? Very blotchy. It still needs some more layers and it still needs to be built up a bit more. Okay. All right, let's grab some yellow. I want to have some yellow going on. I'm going to sip my coffee before it gets cold. I'm going to put some yellow here. And in here. I don't really see any other yellow. I'm going to put a little bit just there, I think. And I think a little bit on this arm. For good measure. And a little bit on the foot pad. Okay. Okay. I'm going to grab my turquoisey color because I want to play a little bit with that. I think that will be fun to use. I'm going to move this a little bit because I feel like my head's getting in the way of too much. I think it's still going to. So I have my turquoisey color and I'm just mixing it in with white just to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so I want it to kind of come in here, little dollops of it, this area. Okay, and there's definitely down this arm. Okay. Just kind of play a little bit with the color. Where else do we have it on here? I think it kind of brings up the neck. Cool. And then also in the ear. And this part of the trunk we haven't really touched yet. Just needs to be a little bit lighter than that. Okay, I'm just gonna get some white. So I played a little bit with the turquoise. It looks like my elephant looks like a bunch of paint just like spilled on him. Are we supposed to be painting on top of each color? Yours looks cute, mine looks like a mess. It's okay, Colette. So when I started, and I just put it on itself, so I didn't put colors on top of each other initially. So like when I did the blue, I just put the blue on, and then I just put like pink on the canvas itself. And then now that I'm putting this turquoise, the rest of it is like, as I've been going, and it's been like a kind of a slow process, like getting into each section, those sections have dried. So then now I'm applying the new color on top of the dried sections. So I would say you shouldn't be doing wet on wet paint. It should be, the paint should go on the canvas first, like in globs, like in different color patches, essentially. And then when you put on additional color, like now I'm doing like turquoise, I'm going to put maybe a bit more white, and I go back over with the dark blue. I'm going to be going over, but the paint has already dried. So I'm going, it's all on dry. So if you're putting it wet on wet, it will mix up all together because all the paint will just start mixing. And I'm sorry if I wasn't clear about that before. So just try to have, if you are going back. You can even just wait, like even just stop for a little bit, wait till everything's dried, and then go back once it's dried, and then just put dollops of color. Dollops. It's a funny word. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of turquoise here. Well, it's still a little wet under here, so it did kind of like disappear. I want this to be like slightly darker. I feel like it's gonna be too dark. Might be. I just want to have like the curve of his mouth. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna go back over some of my dark blue because I can see a lot of the streaks and I don't like it, so I'm just gonna go over it a bit just to make it more opaque. Oh, I don't know why I take chances like that. I know I like to have more control of over the brush when I like stroke towards my hand versus like down, like when I go in an up stroke. I feel like I have more control, and I always end up going like in a down stroke, and then I end up messing it up. I'm like, I don't know why I do that. It's like I already know I have more control one way. What am I doing? Okay. So I'm doing a down stroke again. Oh well. Well, I'm gonna keep doing a little bit. So I'm gonna get better at them, I guess. I don't know. Okay, and I did like it a little bit darker. Okay. I still feel like his ear is a little bit too dark for my liking, the bottom part. Yeah, that's better. He was a little bit too dark on that ear. Some of the dark blue is working, and some of it I don't. I feel like it's a little too striking. I'm just going to go back over it and make him a little bit lighter. I feel like that blue is just too, it's almost like too much. I need to limit it a bit more. And I know I just like put in a bunch in, but oh well. That's what happens in this process. Like sometimes you'll do it and then you're like, oh yeah, that works. And then you go back and you're like, no, it doesn't work. Okay, I think that his blade needs to get some more purple. So I'm trying to curve some of my strokes to kind of give it the feeling of his like chubby little cute leg. So I'm trying to curve it a bit. Look at that. So his leg's a little curvy. His eye looks still kind of funky because I haven't finished that eye yet. And his feet pads still look kind of weird. A lot of it still looks a little bit weird. Like it's not exactly where I want him yet. What else? What else? Where else are we going with this guy? Let's see. Maybe over here. dull this line. This blue is a little bit too much. I don't want to go that route. Okay. Let's go. So now, like I said, like now that my paint's dry, I'm going to go over it with other paint to kind of continue to like build it up a little bit. And just make it look more like full in color. Because the more like layers I find, it tends to look better. Trying to outline some of the components here, so like okay. Okay. Just going to use some of the blue to outline. So I'm going to outline his little mouth. Okay. So I'm just outlining the mouth and almost the entire elephant essentially with like my dark blue, but you could use black alternatively too. I don't want to mess it up. I feel like I'm going to mess up the trunk. Okay, trying to get my blue nice and easy to All right, I might have to, how am I gonna do this? Ah, okay. Sorry if I get in your way a little bit. See, I'm doing what I don't like doing. Okay, hold on, I need to get here. Sorry if my head's in the way. Okay, I just have to draw that line in. Okay, there I go. Get this line around him. I know once I get that line around, it's going to look better. Okay. Again. Okay. I kind of touched that. That's not what I want to touch. Okay, let's get. There you go. Clean up your mouth, good sir. I don't really like that too much. Okay. I need that to be a bit more flat. I feel like that gray was kind of weird there. And I want underneath the eye to not be super white. I'm just gonna a little bit of that turquoisey color, light blue. I don't know about that blue here. Okay. So again, if you're using, or if you were doing watercolors, it would be a little, I don't know, but easier. It's still a technique, like it could still end up looking really weird. But the way the colors kind of bleed into the page, it kind of creates this effect a lot. I'm still going to say easier, even though it pains me to say easier, because personally, I don't find watercolors easier. Watercolors for me are very tricky, because they're like, you do very little with it. Like, you kind of have to trust it. So when you put the water on there, and you just have to kind of like let it happen in a way. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like with acrylic, I have a bit more control, or at least a perceived sense of more control. So I definitely like it, because I feel like I'm like, okay, I can wait till it dries, and then I'll touch it up again, you know? Where for other things, it's like, oh, watercolor, okay, now you messed it up, it's done. No. I don't know how far the paper can get wet before it's deemed it's at its cap. Okay. I want to there we go. I want to make it a little darker, but I'm going to still put some turquoise kind of mixed in there. Okay. I think this is missing a little bit of turquoise in here. I need more white though. I don't want it to be bam. Okay, and these are a little too white. I'm just gonna add a little dollop of color into these. I'm just going to put a little bit more white into it because I feel like I went a little bit too crazy putting some other color here. Okay. Alright, I think I'm almost where I want all the different color patches on our elephant. I'll bring them up a little bit closer so you can see. It still looks very different than the original because it is, again, acrylic, right? So it doesn't have the same blend. I did want to keep it a bit more blotchy. I wanted the color to be a bit more in patches, and I might still add a little bit more. Like I'm noticing here, I kind of do want it to have like a little more light purple into it. So I'm going to do that now actually, before I continue on. I'm just going to put a little bit around with just light purple. I think this pink's a little bit too, oh, it's a bit dark. Too dark. A couple little dots in here. Oh, again, I went in that area where I don't want it to be dark. Okay, there we go. Just lighten that up again. I have a tendency to do that. Touch the areas I'm like, I don't want to touch anymore, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's mess that up again. I love it. Okay. Okay, I think, yeah, I'm going to do the eye now. So I'm going to put in just a bit of white in this corner. Okay. And I'm going to get my black. And I'm going to start in the center and I'm going to just fill the rest of it out. Okay, so that's the black part of the eye. But I do need to outline the area a little bit. Oof. Oh, it looks kind of cute. Okay, that works. And I'm going to put in the little line there. Looks like he has a funky eyebrow a bit. That's it. I don't really like the way that looks, actually. Okay, we're just going to shorten that. And it's a great thing when there's like patchy colors. It kind of makes it a little easier to like cover things up. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? It's a little bit better. Okay. So I'll show you that guy a little bit closer. And when that black dries, I'm going to put a little white dot in the eye too. So that's my little guy so far. I think I'm almost to a point where I'm pretty happy with the color and whatnot. Maybe I'm not going to wait till it dries. Maybe I'm going to add the white right now because boop. Yeah, I'm happy for that. Let's put a little white dot so the eye just looks a little more finished. Awesome. Okay. So right now it's been about just over an hour since we started. So I'm feeling pretty good about my elephant. I might go back and play with it a little bit more, but for now I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the big splash of color that happens at the top here. And again, you can do this in many different ways. I am going to take a bit of a different approach on it to just make it work with the acrylic really nicely. And I think I'm going to work more with like blocks of color. And then I'm going to do some splatter on it afterwards. So I'm going to play with that and then we'll see how that goes. And if we want to change it up or anything, we will. Because we can do whatever we want because it's our painting. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Okay. So what color? I think I'm going to start with the pink. The pink's nice and prominent. I'm going to bring it up that way. So if you have pre-mixed pink you can use, or you can use red and white, or you can use whatever color you want. Again, I'm using pink to start, but again, you can do whatever you want. You want to start with green or yellow or blue or anything, go for it. Okay. This is more, almost, it feels more ragged. Oh no, it's pretty pink. I need more white though. Okay, there we go. There we got some pink rolling. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do it more in like blocks of color. So let's start, I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna bring it out. It's gonna come out this way. I'm just using some water to spread it out a little bit more because my paint's getting a bit dry. Okay, and then let's do some purple. Purpley blue. More of like a blurple. We'll see. I'm gonna change it up too. I'm just going to do like a couple different sections. playing with it to see how I want it, if I want to mix it a little bit. It's still wet, and I think that is kind of looking good. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. I just mixed it slightly in there. So I pulled the purple paint a little bit into the pink to kind of blend it a little bit. Okay, I think we need some more coming out on this side. So it looks like a very like me. Okay, so let's do some orange. I'm going to do some orange. And I think I'm going to bring it out this way. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do like kind of a sweeping motion here too, kind of following the same kind of pattern I just did over there. It's going to be on its own a little bit. Maybe I'll attach it slightly. Maybe I'll blend it a little bit. There we go. I'll make it a bit fatter. Okay. I might want to put another coat on that depending on how that goes. And then let's put some yellow curved out this way. And I'll connect it down here. This reminds me of Home Alone, the song. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but I have some like classical music playing. And this is like Home Alone for sure. This is what I remember thinking of. Okay, so we want this to kind of come over too. So I'm going to bring some of that yellow over, I think. I'm going to keep it swirling. Keep it swirling. And again, I know this is different than the colors that are there, but I kind of am liking this bright yellow. I'm going to go back to some of the other colors too. So I'm just going to kind of get the feeling of this flow, and then I think I'll end up blocking it and doing some other things with it in a little bit. But right now, playing with that. Okay, let's go with this blue. Trying just to wet it out a little bit. So here, sweep it down. I'm still using my thinnest brush. I probably should have switched over to a different one, but I'm liking the control I have. It just takes a lot longer for me to do kind of anything because it's such a small brush. Oh, good. I'm glad you like the music picture. Veronica, sorry. I'm glad. Thank you. Again, for many of the sessions, I didn't put music on because there's like copyright violations on them if you put certain types. So I was like, okay, I guess I need to stick with some classical music. And I've been digging it overall. It's more of like a calm painting time versus like a party time, but it works out nice. So I'm just gonna keep just adding some more little swirls and flows to get the vibe of this. Maybe I'll mix some of that in here. Alright, what else do I want to go? I want to go back to my pink, I think. And I want to, we're going to go up from here. It's going to come up. Boom. Bright and colorful and beautiful. I want to put my hand on the on the canvas, the wet canvas. I want to make this a little fatter. Oh, that's from Wayne's World, this part. That's hilarious. I'm gonna bring that in a little bit more. Cool. Hi, Joe. Oh, I thank you. Okay, so I was going to add a little bit just to play around with it a bit. Okay. Getting some more color going on. Yeah, for sure. So there you go. So there's a close-up of the elephant. And then we're just playing with the colors on top. So we're still just having some fun with it. So it's a little bit different because that one is a watercolor. So it's definitely a little different than when you're using acrylic. So we're just going to take our own spin and have some fun with it like this. Okay, so let's get some more yellow happening. Okay. Bring that up and around. Okay, so where else do we want to go with this? Yeah, put a little bit of yellow under here, I think, too. Okay, and so where else do we want to go with it? Let's see, maybe some more blue and purple. Yeah, we need some more purple going on. Oh. This one's definitely a little tricky, Joe, but it's definitely fun. If you go back to the start of it to see, yeah, it's just try to make sure that the first layer is dry before you put the next layer on, because trying to do it wet on wet will make it a little, won't work out as well, I should say. Another curve here, maybe. So really this is just, I'm just winging this top part, like I'm just going to see how, so just feel free to go with whatever groove you have and make this top part the way you want it to be. Okay. still trying to keep the flow of it, like coming out of his trunk all around. So that's the only kind of thing that I'm trying to keep going. Okay. I want to go back to my turquoise. Put some of that on here. Ooh. I like having that turquoise, it's pretty. I want to put a little bit in here too. The bubbles and the blends on the first painting. So with that one is this, the original one was done in watercolor. And with that, it would be in terms of, what are you saying here? Sorry. The bubbles and the blends in the first painting. So in terms of if you're just using watercolor, then really you use the water and the paint medium, and then you kind of blend with it as you go, and then you can kind of also splatter with that too. I'm using acrylic, so I'm just putting in different ribbons of color, and I'm going to still do a splatter effect once I have that kind of where I want it. And I'm just playing with it really and deciding how I want it to go, because I'm not exactly sure if I want it to be fully blended into each other or if I'm having separate color sections. But I think I kind of like the separate color sections right now. And then I'm kind of putting them a bit on top of each other as it dries. I think I'm kind of digging that. It kind of looks more like ribbons instead of like splatter, but I am going to put some of the splatter technique on it afterwards. Mm-hmm. Okay. What else do we want to do here? I want to get some green too, I think. Did not use any green yet. That's very blue. That did not turn out the color I wanted it to turn out. Let's change that up a bit. Yeah, all the painting parties that I do, I always do it in acrylic. And we always do our version of the winning painting. Put some strokes of green, I think. I'm going to put some little lines of green in here. That's good. Okay. I think I want more of the pink. So I'm just playing with the color right now. And I'm putting in smaller strokes around. To kind of still get that feeling of that spray that's happening. Okay, I want like a light blue. Okay, so I think I'll clean that up a bit. What do I want to go with here? Yeah, I wanted to put a little bit more color, or a different color, like orange. Okay. I think I'm going to do some of the splatter now, or very soon. Just a little bit more I want to put in. Okay. Hi, Lori. I hope you had a good shift today. I'm not sure if it's a shift or not. Well, I'm guessing it's a work shift, so I guess that still applies. I'm in like the retail warehouse. Everything's a shift. But I guess that also applies for, I guess, almost every other profession. So it's fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's play with the splatter. I think. All right. Which brush am I going to use for splatter? I think I'm going to use this brush. This one going to be good? Yeah, I think this one will be good. Okay. What am I going to start with? Let's start a little safe with white or yellow, maybe yellow. Okay. So I'm in a weird angle. I'm right-handed, so it kind of throws me off. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Very small splatter, but it's working. You can't really see it because I was safe with my my yellow. Okay, let's try the turquoise. Let's see if that's better. Yeah, well, that's fun. Definitely need more paint on my. That was kind of a cool one. Look, I'll show you. See, look in that corner. There's like a funky splatter in that turquoise color. I'm going to put a little bit more of that one. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's some cool with the turquoise. Which other one am I going to want to go with this? I think I'm going to do a little bit of making one of my red and my orangey colors. And then I think I might even go back and put in some of my own dots of color. Yeah, let's try this one. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that one. I'll see if I can show you guys a little close up. Hopefully the camera focuses a bit. It's still pretty hard for you to see some of the splatter. But definitely doesn't have some of the big dots of it, so I might, like I said, I might put in some of those dots on my own. Let's do blue. My dark blue. That one definitely got a little crazy. Okay. I have some green left. Flicking paint is so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm enjoying this a lot. It is getting like everywhere. Like it's on my ring light, it's on my iPad, it's on my Bob Ross. But you know, that's part of the job. Paint is everywhere. Alright. Okay, cool. So maybe if I bring the camera up closer, it's a little, yeah, you can kind of see it a little better that way. So see all the splatters that happen, and there's some weird lines that happen. And I brought the splatter down around my elephant. Of course, he got some on him too, but I think it still looks great like that as well. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, I think, put in some dots because some of these splatters are still pretty small and I can't really like see them. And I want to have some more defined splatter dots. That makes sense. So I'm just going to make them a bit bigger. A couple of random dots. I think that will look better. Okay. Some red too. So I think that just adds a little bit, like it looks better because now there's some more variety in sizes and just looks a little bit more, I think, I was going to say real, but I don't really think anything about this painting is real. So, yeah. Maybe balanced is a better word. I feel like that having some bigger and smaller and medium dots just makes it feel a bit more balanced. It just ties it together more, I think. It looks more real. You know, like all your colorful elephants spraying random colorful ribbons. Just a normal day. Add some yellow. Okay, this background is reminding me of the school pictures that we used to take when I was like in grade, I guess like 7. And it was like a splatter background and you're like, you know, those ones? That's what this reminds me of. Cool. And I think I'd like to have some pink on this guy too. Pink dots, pink dots. Cool. Cool. Just for good measure, I'm going to put a little bit of my turquoise dots in here too. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Whoops. Let's not spill paint. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm good with this guy. His eyebrow, I feel, is a bit too thick, and the squirting stuff isn't coming. I don't know. It needs to be more coming out of his trunk. Put some white as well. Okay. Okay, I think now I'm actually gonna stop. Okay, so let's get my initials on here. Oh my gosh. Am I gonna try to handwrite it? Let's see. Ooh. Okey dokes. I did try to handwrite it this time. Not the best. It's pretty hard to do that and thing, but it worked out okay. All right, so I think I am complete. So there is my colorful baby elephant. So that's how my top looks, with all the little dots and splatters and squiggles. And there's my baby elephant right there. So it's my version of this really cool watercolor version that we found online and you guys voted for last week as our top pick. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this session, and I really cannot wait to see all of your baby colorful elephants that are happily spraying lovely happiness all over the place. Have a big party. So please snap a picture of your completed projects and share it. I'll take a picture of this as well, and I will share it on my page so you guys can see probably a little bit in better light, like how it actually looks. It's really tricky on the video. And once again, on Saturday, there will be 3 more options that I'll put up so you guys can vote. And next Wednesday, once again, we'll paint the top choice. So the one with the most votes by Tuesday at noon, then that will be selected, and that's what we'll paint live on Wednesday. So that's about it, I guess. If you're interested in having any types of paint parties or any kind of private gatherings and you would like me to lead them, feel free to reach out. Just private message me and let me know. I know some people are doing some Christmas parties and some other types of holiday things happening, so definitely reach out and we can talk about that if that's something that you're interested in. Please like and share this with anyone that you think might enjoy this session. And yeah, fantastic. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure painting with you as always. This is Lisa signing off from Lisa's Painting Parties, and have a fantastic week, paint partiers. See ya.